Another game against Cleveland. No, in Cleveland against
Against
Zuckerman.
Zuckerman, yes. Zuckerman was one of the best prepared players from United States in that time. He was not yet grandmaster, but he was very well prepared. I mean, he knew theory very well, and the variations he played, he analyzed everything until move 20, 30, something like this. In that time without computer. So therefore, the game is very interesting. Anyway, the tournament organized in Cleveland was in '75, one of the best tournaments organized ever in United States. I mean, closed tournaments like this, not open, closed tournaments with 14 players or something like
with
that.
invitation, I guess.
With invitation, yes. And it was okay. I mean, the level was very nice, very high, and we looked like this. You see, very nice example. Okay, so after queen a4 check, of course, knight c6, otherwise he loses a piece, no? And now bishop g5. Until now, everything is theory. White has a small edge, but very pleasant again to play, you see. I'll explain why, what is the small difference. Okay, so now I took in f6. It was the last moment where black could take first in c3, still a little bit better for white, but it was something else now. Now, after queen takes f6, after rook c1, we have another position where white keeps control of the c file, and therefore is better always for white, The control of the c file until the end of the game, we'll see, is very important, you see. Okay, so now castle, but still, again, theory. Everything is theory until now. Yeah. Castle, now a6. I mean, he doesn't want to give you bishop b5, therefore he played a6. So a3, now he has to take a decision. If he goes back with the bishop, he loses for nothing the pawn d5. Very bad, So, okay, he has to take now in c3. But now you can take with the rook, and that makes a small difference. If you take with the pawn, is a little bit better for white, but very little, But taking with the rook, you control the file, and you can hope to have something, later on in endgame or even before in middle game. All right, so queen d6. Queen c2. For the moment, you have the control. Now he tries to free himself, to move later on the knight from c6 somewhere, to e7. But not immediately, because immediately he loses the pawn, so has to wait a little.
Yeah.
So first of all, he plays bishop e6, of course, bishop e2. White, okay, has to castle first, So rook f8, you see, he prepares, he defends, castle. And now, exactly here, knight e7. Okay, now he doesn't lose the pawn. Exactly on time, he could play knight e7. If he waited a little bit too much, after rook fc1, it's very unpleasant because he can't move, the knight. So here, okay, white has to show that he's a little bit better, and why. Yeah, all right. So bishop f5, queen b3, c6. Well, starting from here, he plays a little bit provocative play. I mean, he provokes a little bit too much, thinking that you have no time or it's too dangerous to take immediately the pawn from b7, because you can lose the queen or something.
Yes.
But you can show that white has enough tactical chances, to allow the possibility to take the pawn, because you have some tactical tricks later on,
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, knight e5. Everything is possible. You have a very big advantage in space, White controls the c file, has advantage in space. The knight from e5 is fantastic. You'll see until the end. And now we prepared the small combination, very beautiful combination, but very simple, very nice. But you have to, to control the moves, I mean, and not to do something bad here. Okay, so here, I took the pawn, no?
No, first h3.
h3, yes, to be sure that the king is protected, So an a4. Well, it was the last moment where he could play something else. I mean, rook c7 or rook a7 or b5 or something. But in any case, white is better all the time,
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we have the position. I took in b7, and now what can black do? I mean, he has to play rook b8, of course. Now rook b8, and now the surprise: rook takes c6. Okay, very simple but very beautiful. Now he's lost, because he lost 2 pawns, and the attack continues. This is the problem. So right, he takes. But of course, if he took in b7 after rook takes b6, it's finished. He takes the queen, white takes the queen, pawn up for nothing, and okay, finished.
I didn't see
now
this.
he lost another pawn in f7, and that attack continues. This is the problem, So okay, he goes there. Now rook, everything with tempo, you see.
You lost the quality, but
yeah, well, you have fantastic game here, of course. Now. And queen f8, the only move, you see. Queen f8. And now white takes, the last pawn,
Yeah.
So the last pawn, here is move by move. If he's not careful, he loses another piece, here. I mean, after rook takes b2, for instance, knight f7 check, resigns. Because with check, you lose the bishop from f5.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, the only move here is, what did he play? Rook a7, yeah. To protect the f7 square. But it's too late, you see, because white has so many pawns that is fantastic, for. So bishop c4, very, the best chance, bishop b1. And here, what did I play here? Bishop d3. Okay, I could win immediately with knight f7 check. Here, knight f7 check, takes back the exchange and wins, Gives back 1 pawn, but is completely winning for white, you see.
Why? Because...
too many pawns, 3 pawns up or something.
No, but that. How do you win the exchange back? Here.
Knight f7.
Knight f7?
Knight f7, because he's protected twice,
Yes.
If he takes, I take with the queen. And if he trades queen and rook, white has still 2 or 3 pawns up. And finish, of course.
But if he's coming here with the king?
Then what?
Maybe check here, or I don't know.
Well, probably even e4 wins, because you continue the attack. e4 threatens mate in 1, with queen f5 check. Fantastic position, But okay, he's winning. But I couldn't resist, this possibility to have a knight who controls the board. The final position is unbelievable. You see, unbelievable. We have knight and too many pawns against the 2 rooks. Rook and knight and many pawns, and the 2 rooks doing nothing. You see, the final position
because of the knight.
Because fantastic knight at the end. You see.
Yes.
So now everything is forced. He has to take. Knight takes, and then rook d8. What else? Queen there, and now king g8. I gave check. He played queen f7. Now the simplest way is to take with check. He takes, and now rook b7. You see, we control the b file. No.
Yes.
So now the only move is the rook on c8, and now knight c5. You see, look at this position.
Yes.
We control everything, and the next move, if nothing else, we play rook b4 and we take the last pawn,
Yeah.
So okay, he resigned here, of course. Yeah.
He resigned?
Yeah. Oh. I think he resigned, no?
He resigned, yes.
Yeah. But this, look at this. White has,
total
all
control.
the pawns on board, and the knight in c5 is fantastic. I mean, controlling everything, you see. And he has 2 rooks, but the 2 rooks don't play at all, So very beautiful game, but of course it was a small mistake from Zuckerman because he provoked, the events. I mean, inviting the opponent to take in b7. Okay, it was right, it was correct, and afterwards we had the result. Beauty prize. Not too complicated, but okay, beauty.
That beauty.
Beautiful.